what we've really come to understand is it's the hand action that actually drives.
If you have good hands, you know what to do with your hands. So much works back into the body, and the golfer they're empowered when they know how to use their hands properly. Gentlemen.
So welcome everyone to today's fantastic webinar. And if you want to know what the simple truths of the golf swing are, then there's no better people to discuss this than Martin, Chuck, and Peter Croker. And welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Nice to be here.
Yeah, it's great to be with you, Peter and Chris. How many is this now? We've done like 4 or 5 of these? I can't even remember.
Yeah, number 5.
Oh,
number 6.
Number 6.
It is number 6.
Yeah.
Cool.
And we're just arriving at the truth. Jeez, blimey.
Why are we wasting time, man? Let's get them going.
Simple truths. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So let's have a look at truth number 1 here. So separating cause from effects in an orthodox golf swing is very important. And if we have a look at truth number 1, the hands are the source of motion in the golf swing. And if you want good coordination and less body strain, then good use of your hands and good educated hands are the key to success. So tell us about this, gentlemen.
Peter, go ahead, buddy.
Okay, well, let me have a look at this, Chris. What we're going to look at, obviously, that if the hands are the source of motion, what do we mean by that? Well, firstly, we mean that the hands are going to move the club. Obviously, you're not holding it with your arms or your body, so the hands are your direct link with the club, so they're going to control the club. So they're the source of motion to the golf club, no doubt. But also, the interesting thing is when you move the hands in a certain manner, the arms will do a reaction to that. So the hands are actually causing not just the club, but the arms. So if I move my hands handle first, I get a lot more, not just the hand and arms structure, but I also get the body pivot. So when I push with the hands, my body connects. So educated hands, knowing how to use them, will not only control the club, but ultimately controls the arms and the body, which in turn means you got a more chance of controlling the golf ball. So it's the hands are the source of motion.
Yeah, 100%. So I always like to kind of take the information, reflect back to how I apply it, how I use it in the golf school with my students. And we had a great guy in last week at the golf school, a young professional, I want to say 40 years old, and he was working hard on his game. And he was one of those fellas that, he wasn't a handle first guy. He was a bit of a, he was one of these guys who moved the club head first. And so when you do that, a lot of things happen where we separate the elbows. We don't have the correct structure going into the backswing. And then more importantly, since golf is a 2-target game, meaning that the golf ball has a target and the club head has a target, he wasn't able to have a clean line from the top of his backswing back to the golf ball. So once we introduced the fact of structured address and hands being the source of motion, handle first, club head last, he was able to take out all the common issues we see, the steepness in a golf swing, when elbows separate and then somebody has to respond late. But when people really, really understand structure, then elbows don't separate, club head starts to go, body responds, and there's a lot of success down on the ground when that happens.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's fantastic. It's amazing how it applies not only just for the beginning golfer, but all the way to the top. And if you can get the educated hands, it really makes a huge difference to the results you're going to get with score-wise, because you're going to get much more control over the golf ball.
It's funny, Peter. Sometimes I'll come and put my foot right behind the club head. So there's my golf club head, and there's the ball. So I'm the student, and imagine I'll use this as an example. I've got this mat here, and the mat's light enough for me to flick it away with my hands, but my foot is not. So when I put my foot there and I put my 180 pounds of force there, and I'll say, okay, make a backswing. And they say, well, I can't because your foot's in the way. And then I'll say to them, see, that's the issue. Because if the handle moves first, there's this push with both hands that gets the body going with structure. And what happens is when somebody moves the club head back properly, basically the club head just kind of pops over my foot. It's not a barrier to motion. It's a situation where the club pops over, structure looks beautiful, the body rotates, the arms are in a nice spot, and that starts them off in a great start to their swing.
Yeah, fantastic. We have a little drill in our program called the sword and the stone drill.
Yep.
And we refer to King Arthur, how he got the sword out of the stone. He didn't pull it out, he pushed it out. And we use a broken club shaft with no head on the end. We push it into the grass. And when we push it into the grass, it's kind of stuck there. So we could pull it out, but we got no structure. If we push, it's quite interesting when I push on the handle, how quickly and how easily that the end of that stick comes out of the ground, and the club shaft just goes on that pure path. So you get a really good backswing, and it's kind of automatic. If you start right, your backswing goes into that what we call set at the top position quite easily. So,
adding to that is that sense of, if we move the club head first, we lose that whip, we lose that momentum. Handle first puts momentum in the club head, and that carries a swing into not only a structured top backswing position in most cases, but one that's got enough momentum in it. So, as I hit a shot here, I'm hitting a 6-iron. Let's see how I do. So that's a flusher. So that's 89 miles an hour. Numbers, path, and face are quite nice. Centered contact. So ball speed was 124, carry was 181. And that's a 52-year-old dude. So you can imagine a lot of people can have that kind of speed if they understand how to be, handle first, club head last, how to use the hands properly. Because if we can start the golf swing off nicely in this first truth, so many things tumble into place that are so beneficial. I love the sword and the stone drill, by the way. Yeah.
And, basically when the hands are the source of motion and you do use the correct start to your backswing, this particular device called the Orange Whip, one of the caddies, he was a caddy on the PGA Tour, he invented this, and this is probably one of the, besides your teaching aids that you've got over there, Martin, this is one of that's used quite a lot by a lot of tour pros. It really emphasizes how you get the club head last, and it gives you a feeling of really whipping. Just like you hit that 6-iron, it's an effortless whipping action, and we get the right sequence to the backswing, and the sequence of the backswing means you got the sequence to the downswing. If you want your body coming down first, you don't try to do it. If you do the right start where the body goes back first a little at the very beginning, then it sets up that sequence, that chain of action. So you really get, it basically removes the need for a lot of timing. It becomes more just a reflex. It comes back square.
Before we move on to the second truth, what I would say is if anybody goes on YouTube and they look at a slow motion of Bryson DeChambeau right now swinging his driver, they'll notice in the early part of the swing, the handle moves considerably. The club head kind of stays put. So what's happening is, as his body, as he's got this push between his hands and the handle moves first, there's nice width in his backswing. Most of the people that struggle don't have that width. They take the club, they zip it back inside with their hands the wrong way, rather than pushing on each other and having this width. Because with this width, they have the ability to have so much more speed rather than cutting it off when they go club head first. So anyway, good stuff there. So I hope people take that seriously, because if they can get to that truth, they're in great shape right off the bat.
Super. What we've really come to understand is it's the hand action that actually drives.
If you have good hands, you know what to do with your hands. So much works back into the body, and the golfer they're empowered when they know how to use their hands properly. Gentlemen, great to be with you. Peter, it's a pleasure, pal. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Thanks, Martin. And it will be great to be here. Just a little mention there. Martin has probably the #1 golf school in Arizona. There are a lot of golf schools there, but you've been rated #1. So that's nice. Nice to be in your school today. Okay.
Well, that's where we're sending my studio here.